reminded of the wealth of India and the splendor of the days that used to be. This is just a rare and special occasion, staged by one of the wealthy Maharajas at a grand social event. The headpieces worn by these elephants are made of solid gold and are studded with magnificent jewels. But now our journey is coming to an end. We will take one last look at Bombay before we draw our visit to a close. To the observing tourist, this view is more than just a picture. It is Bombay, the gateway to India. Through it flows the commerce of an empire. Great commercial houses, stately public buildings, and educational institutions flank its broad thoroughfares. Railways converge here from every state in India, and steamship routes diverge to the ends of the earth. Such has been the first constructive imprint of Western civilization upon this much talked of and generally misunderstood country. And so our journey ends. We bid farewell to Bombay, the gateway to India.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us swiftly introduce ourselves, your hosts for the evening. I, Dr. Isha Thakur.
I, Lieutenant Vishwajit Singh.
I, Meera Bhadre.
And I, Gayatri Chokanathan.
On behalf of the Western Naval Command, welcome you all once again. We have a lovely evening ahead of us, packed with action, music, and ceremonial grandeur. Let us take this opportunity to run you through what you're going to witness at this historic venue today. The Indian Navy Marching Band will enter the display area in front of you. Next, we'll have Indian Naval Chetak helicopters, which will start the operational demonstration with a search and rescue display, followed by synchronized maneuvers to demonstrate the versatile nature of this lightweight single-engine helicopter.
Thereafter, we will have a demonstration by the Kamov 31, the airborne early warning helicopter of the fleet. This will be followed by the insertion of fully armed and self-contained marine commandos, also called Marcos, from the advanced light helicopter by having them slither down a rope, following which they will carry out a quick waterborne ingress on board a rubberized craft to their operations area.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chief guest for this evening is Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan, the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, and the program is being hosted by the Western Naval Command. On arrival of the chief guest, you're requested to rise, following which the band will play the national anthem. Personnel in uniform are to salute. You're requested to stand until completion. Thereafter, the band will march in and commence the beating retreat ceremony.
देवियों और सज्जनों, कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, कार्यक्रम का समापन राष्ट्रगान से होगा। आपसे निवेदन है कि आप तब खड़े रहें। वर्दीधारी कर्मी सलामी देंगे। इसके बाद मुख्य अतिथि प्रस्थान करेंगे। हम आपसे अनुरोध करते हैं कि कृपया मुख्य अतिथि के प्रस्थान करने तक खड़े रहें और अगली घोषणा का इंतजार करें।
The music being presented this evening's ceremony of beating retreat encompasses a number of haunting as well as soul-stirring melodies. The band will make its entry to the tune of Ines Vikrant. Several other quick and slow marches followed, and the rat-a-tat-tat of the drummer's call. This will be then followed by the traditional and much-loved eventide hymn, Abide With Me. That evergreen and hauntingly beautiful composition by W.H. Monk will precede the stirring sunset ceremony, which will be marked by the ceremonial lowering of the Indian Navy's flag, the white ensign, hoisted on the top of the monument. You are requested to rise for the sunset ceremony. Personnel in uniform are to salute.
Details are available in your respective brochures, which I do hope you will keep and cherish as a souvenir of this year's ceremonies. This will be followed by an aerial salute by the Indian Naval helicopter fleet comprising of Chetak, Sea King, Kamov and ALH operating from INS Shikra right here in Mumbai.
The completion of the aerial salute will follow less formal part of this evening show, the tattoo ceremony comprising a spirited performance by the 55 exuberant cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps doing the sailor's hornpipe, followed by a silent continuity drill displayed by the Norwegians of Western Naval Command, a band display by the Naval Central Band, followed by a show of drill and dexterity on the drums by the Naval Drum Team, who call themselves the Dynamites. And finally, with a spectacular finale comprising all the performers of this evening's extravaganza. Culminating all of it will be the coordinated illumination of Indian naval warships.
देवियों और सज्जनों, एक बार फिर आप सबको याद दिलाना चाहेंगे, कार्यक्रम का समापन राष्ट्रगान से होगा। आपसे निवेदन है उस समय खड़े रहें, वर्दीधारी कर्मी सलामी देंगे। इसके बाद मुख्य अतिथि प्रस्थान करेंगे। हम आपसे अनुरोध करते हैं कि मुख्य अतिथि के प्रस्थान करने तक खड़े रहें और अगली घोषणा का इंतजार करें। धन्यवाद।
That was a brief overview of the exhilarating fare that we have prepared for you on this momentous day. But let's take it one step at a time. Today we will get more than a taste of the famous and well-traveled Indian Navy Marching Band. As I speak, the band is leading a most impressive contingent that is standing 6 abreast to your right. Also to your right, ladies and gentlemen, is the PJ Ramchandani Marg from the Radio Club to the Taj Mahal Hotel. For your information, the PJ Ramchandani Marg is named after late flying officer Prem Ramchandani, who made the supreme sacrifice during the 1965 Indo-Pak War. Interestingly, he was also a Sea Cadet and continues to be a role model for young cadets today.
Enveloping the band is a colorful marching contingent made up of mixed troop of standard bearers comprising 32 sailors of the Indian Navy and 16 young girl cadets drawn from the Sea Cadet Corps. These young men and women proudly bear flags and standards that are relevant to this evening's ceremonies. The national flag is borne aloft on the extreme marching right, along with the Indian Navy's flag, the White Ensign. Standard of the city of Mumbai showing the crest of the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation or BMC and the flag of Sea Cadet Corps. On extreme marching left is the standard of the Western Naval Command. We hope it would interest you to identify these flags and standards when the standard bearers finally come into the plaza.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to wait a little longer. Later this evening, I'm sure that each one of you will be utterly captivated by the skill and dexterity of the young cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps. It is undoubtedly one of the country's finest voluntary, non-governmental youth organizations. Established in Karachi in undivided India in May 1938, the Sea Cadet Corps relocated to Mumbai in the year 1948 and over the past 8 decades has remained true to its aim of instilling skills and values through nautical and allied training. The Sea Cadet Corps now boasts of 10 units across India. The Corps' more than 40,000 ex-cadets are today productive and caring citizens of our great nation, shining in a number of diverse fields and professions, including the Indian Armed Forces and the Merchant Marine.
यहाँ उपस्थित गणमान्य अतिथियों को बताना चाहेंगे, मुंबई के इस ऐतिहासिक भूमि पर बैंड के लिए हमेशा ही गर्व का क्षण रहा है, न केवल लोगों का मनोरंजन करना, साथ ही में भारतीय नौसेना के गौरव के रंगों को संगीत द्वारा और सुनहरा करना। दर्शक जनों को हम बताना चाहेंगे, उत्साह और प्रेरणा का अद्वितीय स्रोत है मार्शल म्यूजिक।
The term beating retreat comes from the beating of the drums in a particular way at a particular cadence to send out a particular signal. This ceremony is over 450 years old and is firmly set within the historic traditions that have been built around what is arguably mankind's oldest organized activity, namely war. The original call of retreat was beaten by drums alone, and it was some time before the fifers were added to play tunes. A fife is a small, high-pitched transverse flute similar to a piccolo. With the passage of time, the bugle and other musical instruments were added as accompaniments.
देवियों और सज्जनों, आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि आप अपने मोबाइल फोन साइलेंट मोड पर रखें और तस्वीरें लेते समय कृपया अपने स्थान पर बैठे रहें। As the borders of kingdoms expanded beyond their shorelines, the tradition of sounding the drums became a tradition for showcasing the armed forces on ceremonial occasions. In India, the 4th of December is celebrated as Navy Day and hence is considered an apt occasion for the ceremony of beating retreat. Since the practice of lowering the ensign at sunset is universal across the armed forces, the beating retreat ceremony traditionally culminates with sunset.
As India gained her independence in 1947 and then transformed in 1950 into a vibrant and a democratic republic, the abiding value of military tradition was both recognized and acknowledged. As a consequence, over the past 6 decades and more, the ceremony of beating retreat has been established as an integral part of the military tradition of India and is today a much anticipated tri-services spectacle performed every year in New Delhi by the massed bands of the Indian Army, the Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a beautiful coincidence it is. Today is the centenary year of the Gateway of India, a state-protected monument of the Directorate of Archaeology and Museums under the Department of Cultural Affairs, Government of Maharashtra. This iconic monument was opened to the public on 4th December 1924 by the then Viceroy Rufus Isaac, first Marquess of Reading. The design of the famous Scottish architect George Whitted, this monument is styled after Indo-Islamic architecture. The Indian Navy is thankful to the Department of Cultural Affairs and Directorate of Archaeology and Museums, Government of Maharashtra, for all the support and cooperation extended towards organizing the Navy Day celebrations in the historic premises of this majestic monument, which is now synonymous with the identity of our beloved city of Mumbai. देवियों और सज्जनों, चुस्त कदमों से आगे बढ़ते हुए, कदमों से कदम मिलते हुए, गणमान्य अतिथियों, यहाँ उपस्थित एवं पीजे रामचंदानी मार्ग पर इकट्ठा असंख्य मुंबईकरों के दिलों में जोश, आनंद और अपनापन बढ़ाते हुए आप देख सकते हैं कई सम्मान प्राप्त भारतीय नौसेना का विश्व विख्यात बैंड, इंडियन नेवल बैंड। Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Indian Navy Marching Band as they make a grand entrance into this historic plaza, accompanied by the cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps. Let me once again draw your attention to the flags and standards of the Republic of India, the white ensign of the Indian Navy, and the flags of the city of Mumbai, the Sea Cadet Corps, and this evening's host organization, the Western Naval Command. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once again for the Indian Naval Band.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look up towards your right, emerging from the sky are the Indian Naval Chetak helicopters to commence the operational demonstration. INAS 321 Fleet Support Squadron, affectionately addressed as Angels. Aptly named, these Angels of Mercy are tested by the innumerable lives they have saved in search and rescue missions or in prompt evacuation of casualty from the battlefield. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chetak helicopters will now showcase the process of recovering survivors at sea. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the Chetaks are lowering the trained divers. In an actual scenario, these divers would be lowered into the water to rescue the survivor. As you can see, the diver is now being reeled back into the aircraft using its rescue winch, which is a mechanical device fitted on the aircraft. The Chetaks will now demonstrate clockwise and anti-clockwise spot turns through 360 degrees. As the name suggests, a spot turn is a maneuver where the aircraft turns while at hover, maintaining its height and ground position. The helicopters have commenced the spot turn. This unique ability of a helicopter is what makes it extremely versatile and sets it apart from a fixed-wing aircraft. Executing this maneuver requires the pilot to use all four limbs to control the aircraft, demanding immense psychomotor skills and practice. It might astonish you, ladies and gentlemen, to learn that these blue birds have operated in all the 7 continents, including Antarctica. The Chetaks have been meeting all assigned tasks with zeal for over 60 years and are still on the gallop. They continue to remain the platform of choice for every mission, irrespective of deck, time, and sea.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for the brave men for such an immaculate display of dexterity in saving lives in peril at sea. As you have seen, rotary winged aircraft, being versatile and unique in their capabilities, are the most suitable for search and rescue and other such operations. Their unique capability of hovering, that is remaining stationary at a spot, is exploited in vertical replenishment of men and material, casualty evacuation, anti-submarine warfare, and insertion and extraction of special forces.
Next in line are the mighty Falcons, the Kamov 31 airborne early warning helicopters from the Western Fleet, set to perform the iconic spot turn maneuver. The aircraft is being commanded by Commander Pankaj Kumar Swain, and Naval Air Operations Officer is Lieutenant Commander Akhil. These mighty steel giants will gracefully recover to hover just 50 feet above the water's surface, showcasing their remarkable agility and versatility. Equipped with a powerful airborne early warning radar, these helicopters serve as the eyes in the sky, enabling them to detect incoming enemy aircraft, fighters, missiles, and ships. The helicopter weighs 13 tons, and as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the contra-rotating rotors of the helicopter makes it unique and extremely complex. It is the only single-pilot helicopter of the Navy. The Naval Air Operations Officer on board is responsible for the sensors and providing the air picture. With their cutting-edge technology and strategic capabilities, These helicopters provide an indomitable airborne early warning bubble around own ships by enabling real-time sharing of enemy's position. Once this information is relayed, our own offensive forces launch a counterattack to neutralize the enemy. This makes them a critical asset in naval warfare.
The Kamov 31 has been nicknamed the Eyes of the Fleet because of its ability to provide advanced warning of incoming threats, which is akin to an eagle spotting prey from the sky.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the Kamov 31s recover from their maneuver and hover gracefully over the water, let us take a moment to appreciate their remarkable contribution to the nation's defense. With their advanced technology, unmatched agility, and strategic importance, the Kamov 31 helicopters truly embody the spirit of mission-ready, combat-proven.
Can we have a huge round of applause for the brave men for a fantastic display of professionalism and alacrity?
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now witness a spectacular simulation by the daring advanced light helicopter. It will incorporate a heliborne ingress, a tactical insertion of a covert ops team. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see a small Gemini is ready to induct the Marcos and is taking position just below the ALH at hover. You can clearly see how the Marcos are bracing against the massive rotor downwash. But don't you all agree that when the going gets tough, our Marcos get going? Emerging from the halo is one Prahar of the Indian Naval Marine Commandos or the Marcos, while the other ALH provides cover fire to our daring Marcos. Let me add, ladies and gentlemen, the Marcos are fast roping down from a height of over 50 feet. Needs tremendous strength and courage to pull off such a heroic act. Slithering, as you can see, is the technique in which the Marine Commandos are lowered down from the helicopter into a hostile environment with the help of a rope. And that, ladies and gentlemen, completes the successful insertion of the Marcos Prahar.
As you can imagine, it is not easy, this slithering business. It needs speed, strength, agility, tremendous focus, and courage beyond measure. The lives are at stake, but the never say die attitude is a core attribute of the Marine Commandos. It's no wonder that they're revered amongst the most elite special forces in the world.
जी हाँ देवियों और सज्जनों, तालियों में कटौती न करें, आपकी ये हर्ष ध्वनि उन तक जरूर पहुंचेगी। देश की रक्षा में सतत मुस्तैद भारतीय नौसेना के वीर जांबाज मरीन कमांडोज ने लगातार कठिन अभ्यास की बदौलत इस हैरत अंगेज प्रदर्शन को वर्तमान स्वरूप प्रदान किया है। एक बार फिर जोरदार तालियां हो जाए इन बहादुरों के लिए।
As we await the arrival of the chief guest, let me explain the difference between the ceremonies of beating retreat and the tattoo. The beating of retreat recalled troops from the battlefield and into the billeting area. The tattoo, on the other hand, was a beating of drums within the billeting area that ordered troops to proceed to their quarters. Over the years, the tattoo has been enriched by the inclusion of traditional, folk and contemporary sounds and movements. Rather than remaining static within purely martial bounds, this strictly military form of pageantry has in many cases acquired distinctive celebratory features, becoming more of a music festival, albeit one with the recognizably military underpinnings. To this extent, therefore, the tattoo is very much a living, evolving and dynamic ceremony.
देवियों और सज्जनों, आज के हमारे विशेष अतिथि हैं महाराष्ट्र के राज्यपाल श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन। श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन का जन्म 4 मई 1957 को हुआ था। एक प्रभावशाली राजनेता जो 31 जुलाई 2024 से महाराष्ट्र के 24वें और वर्तमान राज्यपाल के रूप में कार्य कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने फरवरी 2023 से जुलाई 2024 तक झारखंड के राज्यपाल का पद भी संभाला है। इसके अतिरिक्त मार्च 2024 से जुलाई 2024 के बीच उन्होंने तेलंगाना के राज्यपाल और पुडुचेरी के उपराज्यपाल के रूप में अतिरिक्त प्रभार भी संभाला है। वह तमिलनाडु के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पूर्व राज्य अध्यक्ष भी रह चुके हैं। Ladies and gentlemen, set against the backdrop of this majestic gateway of India and overlooking the Arabian Sea, the setting sun will cast a magical spell on the complete vista.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the chief guest. Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan, the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra. You are requested to remain standing for the national anthem, which will follow. Personnel in uniform are to salute.
देवियों और सज्जनों, मुख्य अतिथि पहुंच चुके हैं। आप सबसे अनुरोध है अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं।
The chief guest has arrived and all are requested to remain standing for the national anthem. Personnel in uniform are to salute. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Let us now proceed towards the musical beating retreat sunset ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the renowned Indian Naval Central Band, which is being led by Drum Major, Master Chief Petty Officer, Musician First Class, M. Anthony Raj, twirling his mace like a true maestro.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the poignant tunes of Abide With Me, we have come to the end of the beaching retreat ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are requested to rise for the sunset ceremony. Personnel in uniform are to salute. Ladies and gentlemen, sunset.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I will now request you to face to your right. Approaching the venue first for the aerial salute is the Chetak from INAS 321 FSS with our beloved national flag and the naval ensign. The aircraft is being flown by Commander Nitin Gajjar with Lieutenant Ashank Kanwar.
Chetaks are versatile, lightweight, multi-role helicopters that have been rendering yeoman service to the country for more than 6 decades. Close behind are 3 Chetaks of the 321 Fleet Support Squadron in an arrowhead formation commanded by Commander Srijit Gopal. The lead aircraft is being flown by Lieutenant Commander Angad and Lieutenant Ravi Prakash. In the echelon positions, the aircraft are being flown by Lieutenant Commander Vaibhav Tyagi, Nausena Medal, and Lieutenant Commander Bhairav Singh.
देवियों और सज्जनों, निगाहें और ध्यान दोनों ही आकाश की ओर बनाए रखें, क्योंकि कानों में आ रही है हेलीकॉप्टर्स के रोटर की आवाज। जी हां, आईएनएस शिक्रा में हाल ही में शामिल स्वदेशी एडवांस्ड लाइट हेलीकॉप्टर मार्क 3 का स्वागत करें। इन्हें प्यार से फीनिक्स कहते हैं और आकाश में शानदार आगमन फीनिक्स 1 और फीनिक्स 2 का। फीनिक्स 1 का नेतृत्व कर रहे हैं कमांडर लोकेश माथुर और उनके को पायलट कमांडर प्रतीक। फीनिक्स 2 का नेतृत्व कर रहे हैं लेफ्टिनेंट कमांडर भास्कर राजवंशी अपने को पायलट लेफ्टिनेंट कमांडर दुष्यंत के साथ। मैं बताना चाहूंगी ALH Mark 3 एक अत्याधुनिक मशीन है।
Next in the flypast is the eyes of the fleet, the Kamov 31, affectionately known as the Falcon. Today the aircraft is being commanded by Commander Pankaj Kumar Swain and the Naval Air Operations Officer is Lieutenant Commander Akhil.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you all must be feeling proud and thrilled as you witness these naval birds being flown by our naval heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, and now the POC resistance, the showstopper of the air power demonstration this evening. Emerging from behind the gateway is a Seeking Mark 42 Charlie, commanded by Commander Utsav Malik, with co-pilot Commander Vaibhav Gupta of the Marine Commando Flight of INS Shikra for a speedy extraction of Marcos from the area of operation after a successful mission. This operation is termed as STI, short for Small Team Insertion and Extraction.
A mission well accomplished. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for the Angels, Zappers, Harpoons, Phoenix and Falcons from INS Shikra and the Marine Commandos of the Western Naval Command.
चलिए निगाहें आकाश से अब जमीन पर ले आइए, क्योंकि इस ऐतिहासिक और सांस्कृतिक धरोहर से परिपूर्ण भूमि पर अब आने वाले हैं आकर्षक परिधान, भरपूर जोश और अनुशासन को दर्शाते हुए सी कैडेट कोर के नन्हे जोशीले कैडेट्स। जी हां, इंडियन नेवल बैंड के सहयोग से भारतीय नौसेना दिवस के उमंग के रंगों को अब चमकते हुए देखिए। इन होनहार 72 कैडेट्स का शानदार दस्ता लेकर आया है आपके लिए लोकप्रिय आयरिश जिग, सेलर्स हॉर्नपाइप।
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps as they enter the plaza.
विहंगम दृश्यों से भरपूर ये शाम और भी सुहावनी होने वाली है। तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट से इन जोशीले कैडेट्स का हौसला बढ़ाइए देवियों और सज्जनों।
and gentlemen, let's hear another huge round of applause for the energetic young cadets. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a huge round of applause for the Naval Band and the cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, standing right in front of you is the continuity drill contingent led by Shailendra Kumar, Master Chief Petty Officer, Gunnery Instructor 2nd Class, and the 32 stalwarts of the Western Naval Command, coordinated by the 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron, including 10 Agniveers, who will in next 10 minutes dazzle you with their silent continuity drill.
This particular drill sequence is special as it inculcates unity of purpose and esprit de corps and self-control, values that are essential attributes of men in uniform, which is why the drill is rightly considered as the bedrock of discipline.
The contingent has been trained by Madhusudan Dubey, Master Chief Petty Officer, Gunnery Instructor 1st Class, and led by Shailendra Kumar, Master Chief Petty Officer, Gunnery Instructor 2nd Class. At the culmination of the drill, do watch out as the platoon will form up in a figure of 53, symbolizing the 53 years since the victory at sea in the 1971 war. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for these brave men? Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, for what is about to unfold. Now, Shailendra Kumar, Master Chief Petty Officer, Gunnery Instructor, 2nd Class, will pass through the formation of twirling rifles with their flaming bayonets. The platoon will now form up in a figure of 53, symbolizing the 53 years since the victory at sea in the 1971 war.
अतुल्य साहस, अजोड़ अनुशासन, देश के प्रति समर्पण और कर्तव्य परायणता, ये है भारतीय नौसेना की जानी मानी 22nd मिसाइल वेसल स्क्वाड्रन। देश प्रेम, रोमांच, जोश और जुनून को चरण पर ले जाने वाले इन 33 वीर राइफलमैन के अविश्वसनीय प्रदर्शन के लिए देवियों और सज्जनों, एक बार फिर जोरदार तालियां हो जाएं। पैर थिरकने और तालियां बजाने के लिए आपको मजबूर करने आ रहे हैं इंडियन नेवल सेंट्रल बैंड। जी हां, लेकर आए हैं लोकप्रिय यानी पॉप धुनों से सजी एक खास पेशकश, द ब्रास ब्रिगेड, सिर्फ आपके लिए। तालियों से स्वागत कीजिए इंडियन नेवल सेंट्रल बैंड का।
and gentlemen, let's hear a huge round of applause for the Naval Central Band and their brass brigade. And as no tattoo ceremony can be complete without the drummers themselves, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Indian Naval Drumming Team and the magical tattoo drummers displaying drums, drill and dexterity.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a huge round of applause for the Naval Drumming Team, who call themselves the Dynamites. And now, as the principal conductor of this evening's show, Lieutenant Commander Eldrin D. Alexander, Deputy Director of Music, takes to the conductor's rostrum. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you a song that has touched millions of hearts worldwide and is, I would say, a fitting finale to this magnificent military musical extravaganza. Ladies and gentlemen, heal the world.
it only cares for joyful giving.
If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. Fear or dread, we stop existing and start living. Then it seems like always love's enough for us always. Make a better world, to make a better world. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough of living, make a better place for you and for me.
And the dream we once conceived in will reveal a joyful face. And the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. So why do we keep strangling life? Won't this earth crucify its soul? Though it's plain to see this world is heavenly, be God's glow.
We could fly so high, let our spirits never die. In my heart, I feel you are all my brothers.
Create a world with no fear. Together we'll cry happy tears. See the nations turn their swords into plowshares. We could really get there if you care enough of living. Make a little space to make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. You and for me. Heal the world we live in. You and for me. Save it for our children. You and for me.
Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our virtuoso vocalists, Mrs. Sharanya Gopinath, Ms. Arohi Hatangadi, and Leander Joseph Pradhan, leading musician, for an absolutely magical performance. Ladies and gentlemen, as the band marches off into the distance with India's beloved patriotic song, Sare Jahan Se Acha Hindustan Hamara, let's fill the arena with a thunderous round of applause for the young men and women of the Indian Navy and the Sea Cadet Corps.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're requested to kindly rise for the national anthem. All personnel in uniform are to salute and kindly remain standing until the chief guest departs from the venue. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem.
Contingent! Rashtra salute! Salamat! Sat! Contingent! Bagal! Sat!
As we come to the close of this year's beating retreat and tattoo ceremonies, may I draw your attention to the gateway and the harbor beyond, where Indian naval ships at anchorage are illuminated synchronously along with the shore establishments around us. So symbolic of the grandeur and pageantry that has been on display this wonderful evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, the magnificent silhouettes that you see are INS Kochi, which is visible through the gateway, INS Betwa, INS Prabal, and INS Tarasa on the horizon. This is the Indian Navy's way of celebrating this momentous eve. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain standing as the chief guest departs the venue.
देश प्रेम और रोमांच की परिकाष्ठा का एहसास दिलाने वाले आज के इस भव्य समारोह में आपने भारतीय नौसेना की सामरिक शक्ति का अविस्मरणीय प्रदर्शन देखा। हमें आशा है कि इस समारोह ने आपके दिलों में आह्लादित, रोमांचित और गौरवान्वित अवश्य किया होगा। हमें विश्वास है कि भारतीय नौसेना के इन वीर योद्धाओं ने आपके दिलों में एक विशेष स्थान बना लिया है। पश्चिमी नौसेना कमान की ओर से अपार गौरव, प्रेरणा के अनेक पल और अनंत भावनाओं का संग्रह, बस इन्हीं के साथ आपसे आज विदा लेते हैं इस वर्ष की बीटिंग रिट्रीट और टैटू समारोह से। देवियों और सज्जनों, कृपया अपनी जगह पर बैठ जाएं।
We request all guests to join us for the at-home function and proceed to the Navy House through Anushakti Bhavan. Do keep your at-home passes handy. Please feel free to appreciate.
कृषी क्षेत्रात महत्त्वाचा असलेला एक भाग म्हणजे फलोत्पादन. याविषयीची आवड असेल आणि